Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Bring glory home in EA Sports College Football 25. Experience the decibel-shaking soundscape of college football, putting you inside the stadium alongside iconic rituals and traditions. Test your strategic decision-making with an all-new composure system, player wear and tear, and screen-shaking home field advantages. Learn more about the MVP bundle, which also includes EA Sports Madden NFL 25 and can't miss rewards at ea.com/college bundle.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome along to another review of everything that's been happening in British Speedway and looking ahead to the upcoming fixtures in the next week. I'm Ian Brannan, and we have reaction from Perry Barr as the Sheffield Tigers close in on the Ipswich Witches at the top of the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership.
Yeah, luckily we had the gates in Heat 15, and we just really needed to not finish last, and we managed to do that.
More from Jack Holder, Zach Cook, Freddie Lindgren, and of course team manager of the Birmingham Brummies, Samo Malenko, to come. Also a little bit of reaction from the National Speedway Stadium after the Bellevue Aces got the better of the Oxford Cheaters.
We screwed up at Oxford, there's no getting around that, and we definitely made up for it tonight. We had to, and we knew we needed to, and full team job.
Our main guest in this week's episode is a rider who he says is having the best season of his life. Paco Castagna has captained Italy in the Speedway of Nations, and he also captains Edinburgh in the Cab Direct Championship.
Also, the home fans are different compared to other meetings. It would be nice to have the energy everywhere, but I also understand that there is a matter of the team winning, the team losing.
A long interview with Paco Castagna coming up in this podcast. We'll also look at the latest league positions and the fixtures for the week ahead. All on the way on British Speedway's official podcast.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome along to another episode of British Speedway's official podcast, and things hotting up now as we head towards the playoffs and what is going to be a very busy August for many teams. But we'll start with the match that featured live on Eurosport and Discovery Plus on Monday night, and the Sheffield Tigers ending a 4-match losing sequence on the road with a hard-fought 47-43 win at Birmingham. The result narrowing the gap at the top of the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership. Defending champions now 5 points behind leaders Ipswich, with 1 match in hand, and they had to overturn an early deficit at Perry Barr as well, taken to a last heat decider after a Brummies 5-1 in Heat 14, but the visiting pair managed to keep home captain Freddie Lindgren at the back of Heat 15 to secure the away victory. Lindgren had earlier scored 13+1 for the Brummies, and guest Zach Cook notching 10, whilst Max Frick stood in for Ty Woofenden for Sheffield and scored 12 points. Well, plenty of reaction to come. We'll soon hear from Samo Malenko, team manager at the Birmingham Brummies. We'll hear from Jason Edwards, and also got the thoughts of Victor Lampart in a few moments' time as well. But first of all, let's hear from the home side's number 1, Freddie Lindgren of the Birmingham Brummies.
A super strong side. I mean, so many world-class riders, and I think we have to look at the positives for our side tonight. You know, we're winning some heats and making good starts, and really close to get a win. But we think about the positive things.
Yeah. If you take the positive as well, because there were some great performances from Zach, who had a tough start to the evening and then came on strong, also from Victor as well. So the team spirit, the bonding is coming together.
I felt so. It was a lot more of an atmosphere in the side today, and Paco came in as a guest, but he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, you know, helping the riders, you know, when I was very busy there, 3 heats in a trot, and helping out. So now we had a good time in the pits.
Well, the view from Freddie Lindgren. Let's hear from his opposite number for Sheffield, Jack Holder, speaking with Scott Nichols on Eurosport and Discovery Plus.
Yeah, you know, we just had to try and get out the start. There wasn't much passing at the end there. It was just sort of 5 a litre, and luckily we had the gates in Heat 15, and we just really needed to not finish last, and we managed to do that. So
I was going to say the gates fell in your favour for Heat 15. Was there a particular message from Simon said going into that? Was it literally just get the 2 points, second and third's enough?
Yeah, pretty much. He just said no 5-1 against us. So once I seen that Max was going around the outside, I was like, beautiful, keep going.
Yeah, so Sheffield win on the day, but it was a very close run meeting down to a last heat decider, and one of the top performers for Birmingham was one of their former riders, Zach Cook, who of course was dropped to make way for Freddie Lindgren a few weeks back, was back in the side, and he reflects on that and the fact that it was maybe one of the more peculiar bookings of his career.
Yeah, it was a bit weird, to be honest. Didn't make my decision straight away, let's put it that way, but I sort of wanted to come here and show a few things, and I think I've done that tonight.
You certainly showed them. I think there's no better way than to let the actions speak louder than words sometimes, and you've put in a great performance at Heat 15. Obviously you and Freddie coupled together in Heat 14 for that 5-1, but couldn't quite do it to force it to a race off in Heat 15 there.
Yeah, exactly. It went down to that last race, but the track how it finished up was sort of that one line, and if you didn't make the start, it was sort of hard to do anything. But fell a little bit short, but the Speedway.
It fell a bit short, mate, but to round out, it was a great night for you personally. On Legato watch, and certainly put yourself in the shop window for other teams looking.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't been really busy lately, so it's been a long time between rides, and tonight was a nice little filler, and hopefully pick something up.
Yeah, Zach Cook certainly doing his bit there, coming back in to guest for his former side. And we'll also hear from another guest, Paco Castagna, who rode for the Birmingham Brummies in the same meeting. He's our main guest coming up very soon. Let's hear from Jason Edwards then of the Sheffield Tigers, speaking to Ryan Guest.
Well, Jason Edwards, it seems like a long while, but how good does it feel to get another away win for the Tigers?
Yeah, it's all we ever hear is Sheffield aren't very good on the road, this, that and the other, and no, it's just nice, especially in front of the cameras, to have a good night with everything. And no, we needed it. Obviously we're still in a good spot for the playoffs, but anything better is better than nothing.
And Brummies bottom of the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership table, but they certainly made you work for the points tonight. Yeah,
you've only got to look, you've got Freddie in the team, and obviously Zach's come back and he's come here to prove a point, so no, like I say, it's the strength and depth Sheffield's got. Obviously Chris goes out, Jack goes out, and they're all strong riders, and having Max and a guest tonight, he's a number one in any team, but not Sheffield. So like I say, to be honest, for me it was really good having Max next to me, because he was dead open with everything, chatty, and it made a big difference.
You mentioned yourself there, obviously, when it goes down to a last heat decider, an old cliche, but every single point did count. And when you look at the reserves, yourself and Dan scoring 12 to Brummies 5, it was a key area here tonight.
Yeah, me and Dan actually said it, and obviously we're both struggling just to get points in this league, and to have both good nights, it did not make a difference. And obviously in the end, two reserves like that does make a massive difference. So no, we can both hold our heads held high, and I think Dan only ran the last in that very last one as well, so we're definitely making progress, both of us.
And after the biggest win of the season at home last Thursday and away win here tonight, the spirit must be really boosted going into another home fixture this Thursday against Oxford.
Yeah, and that's what's brilliant at the moment. If it weren't for Sheffield, I won't be riding at all, but we've got a meeting every single week, mainly every Monday and Thursday, and it's consistency, it's what we need. It means we don't have to go to proper work, and it's what we want.
Yeah, Jason Edwards there, avoiding proper work by putting a shift in for the Sheffield Tigers on Monday night. A bit more reaction now from the Birmingham Brummies camp. We'll hear from team manager Sam Ermolenko in a moment. First of all, let's hear from Victor Lampard.
It is another loss for Birmingham, but a better team performance tonight.
Yes, we had chat with Sam before the meeting about working like with the team, and I think it helps.
Yeah, it certainly helped. A good start from the boys, and from yourself to start with 2 race wins, that must have been very pleasing.
Yeah, it's very good feeling. Unlucky to don't finish well, but it's not bad.
Yeah, what changed in those last 2 races?
I think we should change the sprocket to higher, because was I think like spinning too much and has too many rotation of the wheel, and maybe that's why.
And this is what happens in your first season when you're racing in a new country, your first year in British Speedway. Even now, still learning all the time?
Yeah, still learning, new tracks, different setups, but happy to racing here.
Victor Lampard of the Birmingham Brummies. Let's round up then the coverage of this particular meeting by hearing from team manager of the Birmingham Brummies, Sam Ermolenko. Of course, plenty positives to take from that performance, especially as it was patched up with guests. But ultimately, despite running Sheffield close, and it is another defeat on the board for the Birmingham Brummies. Here are the thoughts of Sam Ermolenko.
It's tough to get all the ingredients right all the time, and we're still building on getting a solid team. And when you're patching things up with guest riders and not having your 1 to 7 solid. It is hard.
Yeah, certainly hard. Like you say, you had to make a number of changes over the course of the last couple of the days. But with that in mind, does that make you a little bit more impressed with how the boys took it to the champions?
I'm impressed with them because they all have the spirit. They all want to win, Ryan. There's no doubt. They have to believe in themselves. You know what I mean? That's a big part of it. And all we can do is really put them on the track and put them on the best track we can. And sometimes that's been inconsistent, and that's been some of the problems that we've had. But all in all, they want to fight and they want to win. And, what better team to go up against is the champions.
Yeah, great to see Freddie Lindgren obviously doing what Freddie does. I know, unfortunately, he finished last in that last heat decider. Zach Cook coming back and riding well, even though you let him go earlier in the season. But I think a big plus point for the Brummies tonight, Victor Lampart's particularly early on here at Perry Bar.
Yeah, he's, like I say, there's nobody that's actually solid yet, is there? They're all trying to find their place. And when they do click, we'll be a force. But Freddie did his job. They had a choice of taking gates 2 or 4. He let Zach have 2. That was definitely the better gate. Whoever was going to have 2 between them, I think, would have won that race. And it was Zach's turn, and he did great. Freddie battled hard, and he probably could have got over. We were hoping that he would have off 4. Hard to go, but all in all the boys showed that there's something there. It's hard to get it consistent at the moment, and we're still not comfortable, but we're still working on it.
And we'll have more reaction from that particular meeting, with another of the guests that appeared for the Brummies on Monday night, Paco Castagna, joining us very soon. Another meeting that took place on Monday night in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership was at the National Speedway Stadium as the Bellevue Aces, through Brady Kurtz and Dan Bewley, conjuring a big finish for the Aces to secure the aggregate point against Oxford Spires. Kurtz and Bewley combined for 5-1s in heats 13 and 15, as the home side won 54-36, overturning a 16-point deficit from their defeat at Cowley last week. The final race of the night was a thriller, with the Aces riders coming from the back against Spires duo Matsej Janowski and Rowan Tungate. Kurtz and Bewley both scoring 13+1 for the hosts, who saw Jamin Lidsey walk away from a heavy crash in Heat 3 and continue in the meeting, whilst Tungate scored 10 for the Oxford Spires. Some reaction then we'll hear from Peter Schrock, team manager of the Oxford Spires, in a moment. First of all, Bellevue Aces captain Brady Kurtz.
That was cool. It was a mega race. There was people going everywhere, and it's nice to pull off a big win at home. We screwed up at Oxford. There's no getting around that, and we definitely made up for it tonight. We had to, and we knew we needed to, and big performance from everyone. The 2 guests we had in did great, and full team job.
Peter, hard fought result there. Tough to lose out in the last heat, but the boys gave everything.
Yeah, they gave everything, but this place is unforgiving. It's all about setups, and I mean, Brady and Dan riding the wall of death. It's what do you do? We tried our best. Obviously disappointed. Coming here with 16 points, you think like you got a little bit of a chance, but had a couple of weak links today up. And that's cost us. So we have to look at that and just have to brush ourselves off like you do and get on with it again.
Yes, Peter Schrock and Brady Kurtz both speaking to Lee Wild in that chat there from the National Speedway Stadium. So here's how the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership table looks after that latest round of fixtures. And starting at the top of the table, the Ipswich Witches head the table, having raced 16 meetings with 29 points all in all, including the aggregate bonus points. Second place are the Sheffield Tigers. They've got 1 meeting in hand over the Ipswich Witches, raced 15 and are on 24 points. Third are the Bellevue Aces. They've ridden 16 meetings as well and 24 points on the board also. And the Oxford Spires currently in fourth. 18 meetings ridden and they're on 20 points. Behind them are the Leicester Lions, who have 4 meetings in hand over the Oxford Spires and currently 4 points behind the Oxford Spires on 16 points. So you can see certainly there's incentive for the Lions to make the most of those matches in hand to reel in the Spires in the battle for the top 4. And then in 6th place, it's the King's Lynn Stars. They've ridden 12 meetings, which is actually the least of any of the teams in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership, and they have 9 points so far. And at the bottom of the table, the Birmingham Brummies. They've raced 15 meetings with 6 league points so far. So that's the way things stand in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership. And looking at the fixture situation for this week, it's a full programme on Thursday night, the 25th of July. And there's action at Vauxhall as the Kingsland Stars host the Ipswich Witches. Always a feisty one, that one. Bit of a local derby. The Old Farm Derby, as they call it. 7:30 at the Adrian Flux Arena for that one. And there's also a second half programme of racing as well. Some development racing afterwards. So you're going to get plenty of laps in. Then there's also action Leicester, Pidcock Motorcycles Arena. Leicester Lions hosting the Bellevue Aces. And Bellevue just slightly ahead on aggregate in that one. It's 48-42 in favour of the Aces. And action 2 at Oleton at Sheffield as the Sheffield Tigers host the Oxford Spires. And Oxford slightly ahead on aggregate in that one as well. Same score, 42-48 in favour of the AS Spires. Well, coming up in the next part of No Brakes, No Fear, we'll chat to our main guest this week, a rider who has got himself a place in the Grand Prix Challenge at Pardubice at the end of the season. He's a rider that rode in the Speedway of Nations. He's the captain of the Edinburgh Monarchs, and he was guesting for the Birmingham Brummies on Monday night. Paco Castagna is with us in the next part of No Brakes, No Fear.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You might say all kinds of stuff when things go wrong, but these are the words you really need to remember. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. They've got options to fit your unique insurance needs, meaning you can talk to your agent to choose the coverage you need, have coverage options to protect the things you value most, file a claim right on the State Farm mobile app, and even reach a real person when you need to talk to someone. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
No Brakes, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome back. I'm Ian Brannan for the rest of the podcast, joined by our special guest this week, a rider who's already booked his place and is potentially 5 rides away from Speedway Grand Prix stardom in 2025 as he takes his place in the Speedway Grand Prix Challenge. He represented his country at the Speedway of Nations. He's the captain of the Edinburgh Monarchs and, he's now putting himself firmly in the shop window for other clubs as well. He's just signed a deal with a team in Poland with Landshut, and he was guesting on Monday night in the ROWE Motor Oil Premiership for the Birmingham Brummies. He is Paco Castagna. Ciao Bella.
Ciao. Nice to be here and nice to be talking a bit of Speedway.
Yeah. Well, looking forward to it, and there's lots to get through. And let's start with you. Personally, your season, because I know you've said yourself in interviews that we've done before, and other people have said it as well, that probably you are in the form of your career at this moment on a personal level. You've also, as I say, you've qualified again for the Grand Prix Challenge, which is going to be happening. So there's that, obviously representing your country. There's lots to be proud of. How has it gone for you? What's your assessment? Are you still sticking with that this is the best year yet?
I can say that so far is my best season I've ever had. So I'm very, very happy about how everything is going at the moment. I'm very pleased, but I'm very, very how can you say? I've got my feet on the ground. I don't want to think too high or too much forward. I'm just taking meeting by meeting, and it's working out. I've been putting lots of work behind the scenes, with equipment and sport psychologist or physiotherapy, whatever, everything that could help the season to go well, and it's working good. I'm very, very happy. I think that results are showing it, which is very important. In the championship, I've started off with a 5.5 average in April, and I'm now like nearly 7.5. So, things are going very well for me. And then also, I think the cherry on top of the cake was just before Speedway of Nations, I started having a conversation with Landshut about joining the Polish League. Then I went to Speedway of Nations, had a good meeting there. And then after that, I had a call from Birmingham this week. So, I think that I'm going in the right direction. So it's just a matter of keep doing what I'm doing and just keeping high scores.
Yeah, and talking about the Speedway of Nations, obviously for Italy it's always going to be a tough ask against some of the sides that you were up against. But that said, Italy were fairly close to getting that 4th place on the night, which would have got you into that race off. There was only a few points in it, really. It could have gone Italy's way had you had a little bit of luck. But nonetheless, of course, for yourself, and also, of course, we saw for Antti Vulas as well last night. Riders such as yourselves, it puts you in the shop window, doesn't it? And maybe you are a name that's sometimes up for consideration for other places with other teams around Europe or in the Premiership. And a decent performance individually, while the team might not have got there. But you've put yourself in the shop window, and it is having results now, as you say. Now that you've got these extra opportunities that perhaps, well, they may have come your way, but you'll never know. But it certainly didn't do you any harm.
Yeah, it's all a matter of being I always say it, but it's always a matter of staying positive and think about yourself. I'm always, I always said, even talking to you in the past, I always said, I keep doing my thing in silence, and then whatever happens, I just ride the storm and keep going. I kind of felt a little bit overlooked during the winter as nobody called me, because I really felt like I had a couple of opportunities last year, and I think I've done okay in the Premiership, and I thought that I could have been a good reserve. Again, it's just a matter of keep doing what I'm doing, and again, as you said, meetings like Speedway of Nations put you in the shop window. It was just I really did the Speedway of Nations meeting just as a really, really proud meeting. It's a meeting that gives me always goosebumps, because you always ride for your nations and everybody's looking at it. And we are one of the smaller nations, as you said. It was a big shame not to get into the race-off. Obviously, it was Finland with Antti having a good meeting as well. So I really feel like me and him are the two guys that now are being looked at as one of the possible picks for the top league. But again, it's just a matter of keep doing everywhere. Again, even Germany, for the Polish league was the same. It's just a matter of good results, constant, and I'm doing it. So, I'm hopeful that a call for a permanent spot comes, but on the other side, I'm not losing my mind for it.
Yeah, and obviously it's good to get the opportunities, and we'll come to Birmingham in a moment, but just to touch on Landshut, because Landshut, obviously they're in Germany. People might have been to Landshut or watched the Grand Prix in Landshut, but they race in one of the Polish leagues now, so it's sort of a bit complicated, but nonetheless it is a Polish team, and you've got some well-known names in there. Eric Riss would be one of your teammates, Valentin Grobauer as well, another Italian teammate of who has been with Landshut, and Kim Nielsen, I think, is or was one part of the team. So some well-known names there. It's a decent level, isn't it? And you started like a train, Paco, with 10 points on your first appearance there. That's one way to start, isn't it?
Yeah. They always say that you need to take your opportunities with your both ends. So I went there knowing that it was going to be a tough task. Polish league is always tough, whatever league that is. One of the names that like as you said, Kim Nielsen was a GP rider last year or a couple of years ago, and now he's racing in the same team as me. And you got guys like Sam Masters or the Pfeiffer, big names racing there, and it's tough. So I wanted to go there and take the opportunity, score 10 points. With I had a bike problem in my last ride, so it could have been a couple of more, but. Yeah, I was top scorer, so it was good. I was very, very happy, and the team is happy. So got another couple of meetings before playoffs if we reach them. And again, I was really happy about that call, because I always felt I was always doing a little bit better in Europe compared to the UK, and Poland was kind of one of my targets because I know I can be good there. But now I've got it, and I took it with both hands. So not a couple of meetings to go. I'm very focused on it, and again, I don't want to put too much focus on one place compared to the other. I want to give Edinburgh the same amount of focus I give to Landshut, and as you say, the racing is tough, but I'm doing okay. So I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, rightly so as well. You've got to look after your personal interests too, and as a rider, you're having this good season, and obviously it's the target for every rider, isn't it? They all want to have a team in Poland, and we've seen that with likes of Ben Cook, who's taking it another notch and riding for Leszno and stepping up to another level as well. So you've got to take these opportunities, as you say, when they come along, and you've had a couple of opportunities, and we're going to come to Edinburgh in a bit. So I don't want people thinking we're not talking about Edinburgh and ignoring it. We're not. There's a whole section of Edinburgh coming up. But just to sort of talk about the present, really, because with your appearance in the Premiership on Monday night for Birmingham, you've had two opportunities in the Premiership, and both of them have come against Sheffield. So not easy teams to race against. And away, of course, at Sheffield for the first one with Kings Lynn a little while back, a few weeks ago, and then on Monday night, people might have been watching on Eurosport Discovery. Birmingham really running Sheffield very close there. And the thing that stood out for me, Paco, was just seeing how you fitted into the team really well. You could see you doing your bit. You can tell you got that sort of captain's instinct, I suppose, and you're getting involved. And Freddie Lindgren needs his bike turning around for 3 rides on the trot, and you're in there doing the do, helping change the tyre and all that kind of stuff. And so, whilst you were a guest, you certainly bonded straight in with the team and were doing your bit.
Yeah. First of all, starting from like the first part of the question, 2 times Sheffield, like, couldn't get any worse, could it? It's like I really shouldn't have picked the first guest booking, looking at in a very selfish way, because I didn't get there ready for it. Didn't have a mechanic. I only slept 2 hours for the meeting. Arrived there thinking, okay, I'm just gonna test this engine before Speedway of Nations. It's a good track. I'm going to give it a try, and then went out and I wasn't there. I wasn't ready for it. And it was a bad meeting for me, obviously. But on the other side, I knew that this Birmingham could have been a good chance to take, and I did. When they're quite ready, also after obviously a tough weekend in Germany, like not much sleep and lots of walk, lots of driving. But I just had some bike problems, which kind of, like, now looking back at the meeting, I looked at the Eurosport, and I can see that I needed a little bit more speed bikes, and then I ended up the meeting blowing the engine up. So
oh no,
and that's also the one of the favorite engines I had this season. So it's one of them things that I know I can do a little bit even better, but I was quite okay with what I've done at Birmingham. And as you say, I think I've got that captain's instinct kicking in. I'm really, if I've got the time when I'm okay with my bike and everything, I like to help other riders, because, listen, we're all individuals, but we're all racing as well. So I know how it is, and if I can help a little bit, why not? So it was very nice to hear Freddie say that. It was very, very nice. And again, I'm doing my thing. If it's good, they're gonna call me. If not, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, because I think I'm on the right path.
You've obviously got experience with Birmingham in the past. You've ridden there in the previous years. What was it like, you coming in from the outside? A lot's been said about the Birmingham team this year. Of course, they're under pressure. They're at the bottom of the league. They've had troubles. They've changed riders. They had this weird situation with Zach Cook coming back into the side, having been dropped, and really show them what he's made of last night as well. But obviously, with those changes around, it can affect the team dynamic. How do you find it? What was your experience of fitting into that team on Monday?
Having experience with 2 different promotions at Birmingham, it was a bit tough, I guess. How can I say? Like, I was very happy to be back there, because obviously it felt like a home, because I spent there a couple of seasons. It was good to see some people there, obviously. What I saw is a lot of hard work from the management, a lot of hard work to try and get that win and get the fans what they want. They've put a lot of effort on taking big names, which is fair play to them. I think that what's missing is a bit of bonding in the pits for the riders, because obviously when you start changing riders, and I've been in a season where I was one of the 2 riders only lasting the whole season before. So it is difficult. And you need a bit of bonding in the pits, even if it's just for a talk, if it's just for a little help, whatever. It can give extra points on the track. And I've seen that at Edinburgh this year. If you can get that bonding going, help each other, it makes you want to score more points, and that points can get you that win. Like if you look at Sheffield, it's only a couple of points. It's only a couple of points where you can get a win. So, I think that's a little bit one of the things that's missing. A bit of luck, obviously, with riders turning up, not turning up, and getting injured, not getting injured. It's just part of Speedway, and they're trying their best. And I've done my bit yesterday on Monday, so I really hope that it proves that I can be a good rider for top league. If not, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, and then maybe jump in some other team as well.
Well, that's it. There's always people are always moving around in Speedway. You know that. Nobody sits there for 10 years in a team, do they? It never happens. What did you feel about the track? Because that's been another talking point as well, both for the management, for riders, and certainly I think, Samuel Malenko, Nigel Tolley, we've had interviews with them previous weeks talking about maybe the track conditions weren't suiting the home side and that they've maybe lacked a bit of home advantage. And I know a lot of work's gone on that. It was fairly dusty towards the end on Monday, but that was the weather, I guess. But how did you find it from that point of view?
It was very similar to a couple of years ago, quite wavy, and you can get the home track advantage with that. But on the other side, it's very difficult. I can understand that for the clubs, it's very difficult to get how do you say, like trackmen that can stay there for the season, and good trackmen that can do a good track for consistently is very difficult. And this is something that I connect to Edinburgh, but it's my experience. So I'm very proud of what Edinburgh is doing because we got that consistency going. The track wasn't bad. I don't think the track was bad. It's just a matter of keeping consistent, because I heard also on the track walk that sometimes the track is very different, like week in, week out. So you can't get, you always try different engines, you always try different setups, and basically you start from scratch like the away team, and you don't want that. You want a safe spot when you know that you're gonna go to the pits. You know that's the rough setup that you're gonna ride, because the track is gonna be like that, and you want to put the wheels there or there, inside or outside, and you know that. So maybe it's that consistency for them that maybe went against them during the season.
And that, obviously, that difference is that, you get maybe 4 or 5 heats away where you, as the home team, you hit the ground running, you've got the right gearing on, the right engine setup, whatever it is that the trick is. And it takes the away team those 4 or 5 heats to suss the game out. And
momentum. Yeah. And once you get that momentum, the winning momentum, you want to keep the ball rolling. So you have a quick team talk, but you know the changes you have to make. So even between riders, you don't talk about setup, but you talk about riding lines. You talk about feelings on the track. You don't talk about, I don't know what to do with the bike because the track is so much different than last week. And, it goes against you. So, yeah, it's something that I've experienced at Edinburgh. I've experienced it at Birmingham as well in the past. Like, you want to have something consistent. And I think that the winning teams in both leagues have that.
Okay, good insight. And what next for you then with the Premiership? Are you hoping now then the phone rings again? And I'm not sure where some of the clubs are for team changes. 75% windows sort of are floating around for some clubs, or maybe past for some as well. But now is the time, isn't it? Probably between now and the end of the month, where teams are looking to make their final tweaks for the last sort of section of the season.
Yeah. Again, as I said before, I'm very happy with everything. So I'll just, everybody know where I am. They can get my number. So if they need, they can call me. But I'm not gonna look for them and not gonna start phoning team managers asking for a team spot. I'm not doing that. If they want me, they know where I am. So I gave all my efforts to Edinburgh in the last 2 seasons, even without good results. And look at what it took to this year. I'm very, very proud of I'm very happy with them because they gave me the chance and they stuck by it, and they stuck by it. So yeah, again, I'm ready. I've got the equipment. I've got everything ready to go. So if the call comes and the offer is worth taking and time wise as well, because it takes a lot of organizing as well. like it is tough to do 2 leagues plus now Poland and also the international. So, if the right opportunity comes, then why not? I've been aiming for it for the last couple of years. So, when it comes, I think I'll take it with both hands.
And if not, Paco Castagna 2025 vision starts now, where you plan ahead. Exactly. Well, this podcast has hooked riders and promoters up in the past, so you never know, Paco. The same magic could come your way. But in a moment, we will talk about Edinburgh. You're the captain of the Monarchs, and it's a busy time for them, and we'll talk about that in the next section of No Breaks, No Fear.
No Breaks, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
This is No Breaks, No Fear, the official British Speedway podcast. A new episode out every single week. Don't forget to check out some of the previous episodes if you haven't, because whilst the fixtures we're talking about might have passed, there's some good chats in there, not least recently with Danny King, and in the previous week it was Kelvin Tatum reviewing the Speedway of Nations and looking back at that big week, which of course ultimately culminated with Great Britain claiming the prize. Right now though, turning our attention to the Cab Direct Championship, Paco Castagna is with us, and Paco is captain of the Edinburgh Monarchs, and it's a busy time for you, Paco, because you were back in action last week against the Workington Comets at Armadale. You're back in action again this week, and then you've got a busy time because then you've got this week coming up, you've got Berwick home and away, actually on Saturday back at Shieldfield, and then home and away, away and home actually with Glasgow, isn't he, at Ashfield, and then back at Armadale the following week. So busy time. How do you assess the season so far as Edinburgh are concerned, Paco? Because I know the management, have been citing, a bit of a lack of consistency, but you've had some good results as well.
Yeah, it's funny. It makes me smile because I always say it in the interviews that I really feel that we are a strong team, and we are not on playoff spot, or we didn't win the meetings that we should have won. And I go back to what we said before, like momentum and meetings, weird meetings as well. I really feel like we have a good bonding in the pits as well that gave us extra points. We lost Pico for a couple of weeks at the start of the season, which wasn't ideal. We lost some meetings also, because of that. And then now Seiji is out for a couple of weeks as well, which is not helping at all. A couple of the boys had a bit of a tough start of the season, while I was always trying to push the team with my results as well. So, I feel like we should have got more so far, but this doesn't give us less focus on the what's ahead of us. So as you say, we got Berwick home and away, very, very tough team. Well, they're all tough, really. They're all difficult, but they got a couple of good riders for Edinburgh as well. They know how to ride the track, and then we got their place on the Saturday, which is always very difficult at Berwick. But I don't see why not taking all 3 points. I don't see why not. Then we got Glasgow, very tough meeting in general because it's obviously it's the derby, so got lots of energy and adrenaline going for that. So yeah, I'm pleased with my team. I'm very pleased with how everything is going in the pits. I would like to get more wins because we kind of deserve it.
It's been a bit, topsy-turvy, hasn't it? Because you've had wins against some really good sides. You've beaten Glasgow, you've beaten Oxford, you've beaten Poole in the Cup, Scunthorpe, all these sides that are up there. But then you've slipped up against the likes of Plymouth and Redcar, who, considering their results early season, I know Alec Harkis was saying when I interviewed him on Friday that, I've been driving to the stadium thinking, well, this should be a winnable fixture tonight. And then they're the ones you've lost. And the ones where he's arrived thinking, well, we could have a difficult night tonight. It's actually gone the other way. So it's just guarding it. I don't know what you put your finger on. I guess there's all sorts of luck and misfortune comes into it, isn't there? But it's just sort of how it's gone.
I think it was a matter of not like a couple of riders not having a good night, and then the week after was two different riders not having a good night, and then I make you an example. Josh has been one of the best riders in the championship for the whole season, and then we went to Poole and was it the week after, the same weekend at home as well, where he had 2 bad meetings. probably the only two of the season, where we all scored and he was struggling with setups and we lost the meeting. Like, it's just like, we didn't click all together. And when we did, we get 20 points win, or we beat Poole and we beat Oxford and we show that we are very good. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just been a bit unlucky as well. Meetings we should have won, we didn't. But again, I'm very proud also of the management, all the hard work they're doing for the fans and get more fans in, trying to put new things on to attract more consistency on the track for us. You know, we are we are not the best team in the league because the standings can say that, but I feel like we are again, we're strong. We're a good bunch of guys, so I'm proud of the boys, you know.
Yeah, and say you've had the moments, and I know that you're talking about that trip to Poole where you gave Poole a scare, and we were staying at Midlow's house afterwards, and Midlow was like, "Well, I've never been more pleased to see Pico have a bad night than that night, because if Pico had turned up and done the business, you'd have turned Poole over quite likely that night." So, as you say, it's just fine margins, isn't it? And you know, frustrating things like that, but it shows that that there is strength in the team, though.
Yeah, 100%. It's just about clicking all together, which is like something that could have, it's something that happened also to be like we're talking Birmingham earlier. Like, it's the same. Like, you need the 7 riders doing their job and a bit more, and then you get the win. It's always asking the extra, and then sometimes the reserves weren't getting them third places which we needed. So it's always a matter of, I'm always like trying to push in the pits as hard as I can to give advice or help. So, you know, again, we're a good bunch of guys. I hope we can end the season on a high. And we got a big also BSN semi-final. We already won on the aggregate against Scunny. So, you know, we can do it. We can end up very, very good. So I really hope we can do it, because I'm proud to be at Edinburgh, and I'm very happy. So I want to give something back to the club and the fans.
Yeah, absolutely, and that could definitely be on the agenda. I don't think there's a date set for that clash yet, is there, between yourselves and Scunny? But that's to go in the fixture list at some point soon. We were there with BSN on Friday, and we'll be there again this coming Friday for the Berwick fixture. It's Edinburgh week. Sure. Maximum Castagna on your TV, and we're talking about the track though, and you were talking about how the track, you as riders had requested things to be a bit grippier, and they'd made some changes to how the track was for the fixture against Workington last Friday. How did you find that side of things?
It was all right. It was good. All the Edinburgh track guys, let's call them, are working very hard lately to give us what we're asking, and it was good. I feel like the 20 points win was not only a matter of riders missing and a bit of a mess of what happened after the crash, but also because all of us clicked in and enjoyed the riding on the track. It's becoming a little bit more difficult, but because it's a bit more difficult, we have that home track advantage, and it's something that in the UK is very, very common. You go to every track and the track is difficult, and you get that home track advantage. So we had that, and Cookie was in outstanding form. Batch had an injury, and he was still winning hits. So Wallace is a good rider, so you never know what you're going to get from him. So, you know, we were strong in and out. So I don't know what's going to happen on Friday about guests or what's going to happen with Seji. But in any case, whether it's going to be a good guest or a bad guest or no guest or whatever, I really feel like we're going to be strong enough to beat Berwick, and I think that the track is good and it's fair. And we always talked. I always said, you know, I'm that guy that say things straight, and I'm not pleasing a lot of people by saying, "Oh, everything is beautiful, everything is looking nice." No chance. You don't get that from me. You know, I said that in the past, but I think that Edinburgh is quite fair to every team that's turning up.
Yeah, and you have you have been vocal when you've been at tracks where things haven't been right, and you have spoken out, and you're a rider. You've got to go out there and race on it. But I know we had this conversation on BSN, I think on Friday. About tracks being fair racing tracks with a bit of a home advantage, and we discussed what that advantage is at Edinburgh.
Yeah, it's. Listen, you have to look at things where, at places where things are running well in other leagues, and you have that advantage, but the track are not dangerous or bad to get that advantage. You can get home track advantage still by having a good fair track. So it's just a matter of I think I'm a very big I'm a big vocal guy on safety, because we are the guys putting our helmets on, and plus being captain, I really take my team on my shoulders. So I always go to tracks, and if the track is not right, I always say I'm very vocal. And if the track is not right, we're not riding. Like, I don't want to end up in the hospital looking after some kids or some of my riders because the track was dangerous, and then go like, oh, maybe we should have stopped it earlier, because it has happened in the past. So I don't like seeing that, and I know what it is to be injured, and it's not nice. Believe me, it's painful. And so I always say, everybody wants 100% from the riders. Probably everybody always gives 100%, but we kind of request 100% back from the clubs to have good, fair track, because when you have a good track, also it produces good racing. Good racing brings fans. Fans bring money. Everybody is happy. It's really that simple. So I don't know. I'm vocal. Maybe I shouldn't be, but that's the way I do it.
But this statement came out last week from the Edinburgh management, of course, talking about how time's a bit tough for Edinburgh. Maybe not as many people have turned up through the turnstiles as they were hoping. There's been a couple of bad results, I suppose, or disappointments, but I don't think Edinburgh have really taken a real caning at Armadale. And as we mentioned, you've beaten some pretty decent teams as well along the way. So there's nothing really to sort of suggest why that might be. But what do you think? You've got experience of riding in front of decent crowds in Poland, in Italy. The crowds seem to turn up for the events there. What do you think British Speedway could potentially learn from these other places where you go, where the atmosphere is a bit more boisterous maybe than British Speedway? It can be a bit quiet in some places.
I wish I had the magic hat and the magic pick to say, I don't know. Like the way I see it is, people are like it's a situation in the world where it's very difficult for families to have hobbies and stuff like this. So you get a calendar which is not super consistent for home meetings. So people don't have that. How can you say,
like a regular position in the calendar? Yeah.
Exactly. You know that every other Friday you're going to be at home. So every other Friday I'm going to be there. Like football could be like it's a start. Second, I honestly believe, because I've seen with many clubs doing it elsewhere, bringing a little bit the prices down, help bringing more people in. Like, I know it's a their sport to run, also when you don't have lots of people, but looking at the people perspective, it is a little bit difficult for families to come and see. But on the other side, when you come and see the racing is good. Like we've been saying it at Edinburgh, like we didn't have many meetings where the actual racing was bad. The BSN meeting we had last week was a matter of riders getting injured and riders not turning down because of a worldwide problem going on with flights and riders not like turning up. And then at the first heat, you got 2 riders getting injured, and it's just a matter of like also a bit of unluck. But we had good racing, like heats where we get passing and stuff like this. So I think it's just a mix of things. like prices, good racing, television is helping a lot, obviously lately. But I think that they are taking lots of step forward with the streams. Fair play to all clubs running the streams, to BSN, to Discovery Plus. We need that 100%. Like, me and my family are spending a lot of money on streams from clubs and stuff like this because they want to see me racing, and it's just like every family is the same. So it is working out. We need a bit more people at the stadium also to create that. But also, like, fan clubs. It would help also to get fan clubs, like proper fan bases, like football. It could be helpful. Like you know what they do in Poland with chants and stuff like that. It could be helpful.
Yeah, you see that, and I did see some discussion online that there was a guy or a few groups of Polish fans at the Speedway of Nations, and they were getting chants going. But there were some British fans apparently telling them to sit down and be quiet and all this. It's like, well, no, this is what they do. In Poland, they you can look online, and I saw it from Rybnik or wherever the weekend. They're all standing up chanting, and it is like a football match, And we have the Bentu Barmy Army. I suppose the most the well-known probably group of vocal supporters in Speedway, and follow Sheffield around and stuff. But they find that whilst that they've made themselves a bit of a name, that they do bring a bit of atmosphere, and it sort of lightens the mood at the very least. But
well, I can tell you that something similar happens at any Scottish derby. Like, I wish there was that tension, that adrenaline, that fan base at every meeting. It's crazy. You come to Glasgow, you come to Edinburgh to watch one of the derbies. It's crazy. There is a different energy around because it's a derby, obviously, but also the home fans are different compared to other meetings. It would be nice to have that energy everywhere, but I also understand that there is a matter of the team winning, the team losing, momentum of fans being happy, not being happy. I understand that, but looking at the bright side, it would be nice to have that. I was in Germany for my debut with Landshut. They have this fan base, very, very vocal fan base, Polish style, where they only have, I would say, 25 people probably making noise, but those 25 people, they got flags and fumes and everything. That is crazy. It gives the energy also to the other people in the stands, if you know what I mean. So it is nice to see. So maybe it would help. It would help in the UK. I know there are the quiet ones, but I think it would be cool.
Yeah, go on then, get off your seats and make some noise. That's the message of this. Obviously, mentioned Seji. He's out. He had a big bang to the head, didn't he? I think he's hobbling around on a crutch from what I saw on his Instagram story just before. He's going to be out for a few weeks, but it could have been a lot worse, couldn't it? I think people were worried that maybe he broke something more severe, but otherwise, he seems to have come through that okay, and certainly was smiling in hospital. I'm not sure whether that was entirely down to the medication or not.
No, it's. I was very pleased to see that he was okay. Believe me, because when I went in the track, he was his eyes were all over the place, and I was a bit concerned about his health. Obviously, I've hit my head a couple of times, and it's not nice. He was breathing heavily, and I could see that he was struggling. So I'm like, okay, let's just check the body that everything is okay, because if he was unconscious, then let's just make sure that the body was okay, and it was. So it was very important to see that. And then after that, we had a talk, and he seems all right. So I really hope he comes back. He's a quiet guy, but he's a good guy. So we need him in the team, and he's been doing good this season as well. So I hope he comes back very quick.
Your guest options, I guess, are pretty limited on Friday, aren't they? Because teams riding and what have you.
Yeah, many. I know that the club are spending so much time on the phone to different riders. There are a couple of options. I know that they are talking to a couple of riders, but apart from that, I really wouldn't know who who will be available. I know there are many meetings on, but I also see that. I also think that even with rider replacement, we wouldn't be bad. I think we're strong enough to beat Berwick at home, even with rider replacement. Of course, you don't want that because you would like a guest to be there and have 7 riders on track. But worst case scenario, I think we're strong enough to have rider replacement as well.
Yeah, and I think Berwick are patched up as well.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I haven't had the time. I haven't had the time to check, to be honest. I've been raced Friday. It was a busy weekend. Raced Friday, washed the bike up to 2 o'clock in the morning. Went to lunch, had practice, washed the bike. Meeting on Sunday. Drove back 4 a.m. 7 o'clock, wake up. Then went to the airport to fly into Manchester. Drove to Birmingham, raced. Came back 5 o'clock in the morning. Now washed bikes, so didn't have much time to look at the phone.
One extreme to another, isn't it? Going from Armadale to Shieldfield, one of the smaller tracks in British Speedway, to the biggest one. It's a completely different setup, I guess, there.
Yeah, and mindset, because Berwick is it's a tough track to go to. Not many people enjoy it there, but I've had a couple of good meetings lately, so I can be good there, so I'm not too worried about it. But concentration is on Friday first. We need to get a big win to be a little bit safer on Saturday, and then see where that goes. Very busy. UK, not UK as well. Like outside of UK, I'm pretty busy as well. So. Yeah, I think I've already done like 35 flights already this year, so busy. But again, I'm enjoying it. So I wouldn't mind a couple of days off where I could sleep like 8 hours a night. But apart from that, I'm enjoying it. Let's say like this.
You must be almost an adopted Scotsman by now. You've been there for 3 seasons at Edinburgh.
Yeah. I've been very, very lucky with the people here. I've stayed with some very good people here. They are helping me so much. And to be honest with you, in Scotland, the people in general are very, very kind and helpful. I think I found a very good place here, and it helps me also during the season. When you have less worries in your private life, also helps in your career, in your racing. So. Now, I'm very happy. I like the place. I wouldn't mind a bit more sun, but
steady on.
That's where I jump on a flight and go back home to Italy. So it's okay. It's okay. I really like it here, and the club is also helpful. So I'm happy here, but this it can be a thing where I wouldn't mind staying here for a couple of more years and build something with them as well.
Yeah, well, why not? And it was many riders done that. Sam Masters spent many years with Edinburgh, didn't he? And I think Pico's sort of following in those footsteps a little bit now as well. But some great characters around Edinburgh as well, though. The fans and some of the staff have been there forever, haven't they? The start marshal guy, I think he's been there since almost as long as the tapes, and Mose and his Robert Burns addressing of the Haggis poem. You must have been familiar with that.
It's funny because when you come here as an away rider, you kind of do not really notice those things, but after you come up a couple of times, then you see them, you see the same people all the time, and it's beautiful. There's a good also the mechanics. The mechanics help each other, which is something you don't see much around. There's a good vibe, and I think that since they've put me captain this year, I'm kind of like how can I say, pushing it up like to 100%. Like I want that good energy in the pits, and I can see that the riders are happy about it. So it's good. we go back to what I said before. He also takes the good energy on the track, and you get them extra points.
Absolutely. Well, look, thanks a lot, Paco, for joining us, and I'm sure everybody's heard you chatting, enjoyed hearing you chatting, and we'll look forward to seeing you back on the track very soon. Not least on Friday, where you can watch that meeting on BSN as the Edinburgh Monarchs take on the Berwick Bandits, and then you can watch the return leg on Berwick's own live streaming service, I think, on Saturday night as the Bandits take on Edinburgh Part 2, and then you've got, of course, the coverage on EMTV as well for the fixtures coming up against Glasgow in the future as well, and the Poole Pirates have got to come to Armadale, and fairly close on aggregate there. There's that one as well for the fixture against Poole. It's probably a bit too close for Midlow there.
I don't think he's very happy about it,
No, he's not.
also because I think we've beat them at home. I think we did in the Cup. And
yes. Yep.
We won by 6 or 8, I can't remember. So it's very close. So by then we're going to have Seji back, I hope. And we're going to be even stronger. So, it's a busy, good end of the season. I'm very looking forward to that. Thanks for having me on. I think you guys are doing a fantastic job. Like, as I said before, streams, podcasts, interviews, videos, the more we get out, the more people are going to see it, and the more people is going to come to watch Speedway. I've heard it in another podcast, which is doing very well, the ROWE Motorsport. They always say, the Aussies always say, I think Todd said it, that Speedway is the most beautiful secret that the world should know. Like more people should see it. So, it's beautiful. Let's keep the ball rolling and get more people in.
Paco Castagna of the Edinburgh Monarchs. You can see Paco riding on Friday for the Monarchs at Armadale, and then taking on the Bandits back at Berwick on Saturday night. And as we know, he's available for guest bookings, so you may see him riding before then. Who knows? Here's a full look at the fixture picture for the week ahead then in British Speedway. And Wednesday, back to Cab Direct Championship action between the Oxford Cheetahs and the Berwick Bandits. Berwick's first meeting for, about 4 weeks, I think, and they're back on track at Cowley. And we've got the Cab Direct Knockout Cup semi-final first leg between the Poole Pirates and the Scunthorpe Scorpions. There's a bit of old blood from last season to be sorted out there, so that's going to be a feisty one at Poole Stadium, 7:30. Thursday night, ROWE Motor Oil Premiership action, Kings Lynn versus Ipswich, Leicester versus Bellevue, and Sheffield versus Oxford. Friday night, we've got action from the Cab Direct Championship featuring Paco Castagna's Edinburgh Monarchs facing the Berwick Bandits at 7:30 at Armadale. Not too far away from there at Ashfield, the Glasgow Tigers taking on the Poole Pirates at 7:30 on Poole's Northern Tour. And we've got the Scunthorpe Scorpions versus the Workington Comets. But there's also action in the National Development League as well. Middlesbrough taking on Oxford Chargers. That is at 7:30 at Redcar's Echo Arena. And the British Youth Championship follows that fixture as well at Redcar. 500cc and 125cc lads in action there. Also got action on Saturday, Cab Direct Championship. We've got the Berwick Bandits versus the Edinburgh Monarchs, as we've just been hearing about. And we've also got action at the GT Tyres Arena as the Workington Comets take on the Poole Pirates. And British Youth Championship action at Workington as well, following the championship fixture. Again, 500cc and 125cc in action there. On Monday, ROWE Motor Oil Premiership, Birmingham versus Bellevue and Kings Lynn versus Sheffield. And that really takes us up to next week's episode of No Brakes, No Fear, which will be back next Wednesday as a big clash on that Wednesday night, 31st of July, Poole versus Glasgow in a repeat of the grand final of the Cab Direct Championship from 2023. But we'll talk about that next week and look back on all that action we just talked about and ahead to everything that's coming up as we start a new month next week, moving into August. And it's all starting to hot up. Keep up to date with everything happening on British Speedway on the usual social media channels, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and of course the main website, britishspeedway.co.uk, for all the info as and when it happens. And we'll see you next week for another episode of No Brakes, No Fear. Take care. Bye-bye.
No Brakes, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Sports Social Podcast Network.